Greetings folks, and I hope you're all in the pipe 5x5 wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for my thoughts on the upcoming Hollywood Collectibles Group quarter-scale statue of Michael Biehn, aka Corporal Dwayne Hicks from James Cameron's 1986 classic sequel Aliens. But before we dive in, I'd like to send an Alien Queen-size shout-out to everyone who supported Go Figure. And please drop a like on this preview as it helps other people find the channel. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the action figure and statue-related content that we've got coming up. So, HCG announced this piece, must be about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it went completely under my radar. Until today, that is. Apparently this is limited to 500 pieces worldwide for the standard edition, but let's have a close-up look at everyone's favourite colonial marine. And I've got to say, I have no experience of Hollywood Collectibles Group. I don't own any of their pieces. I know they make prop replicas and other bits from other movies, but this will be my first foray into any of their work. And I've got to say, first impressions, I'm really impressed. They're very good indeed. The screen accuracy looks on point, the scale looks right, the proportions look right. Loving this colonial marine uniform that Hicks is wearing here. I think they've done a cracking job. The proportions are definitely on point. From the pulse rifle to the helmet and the armour, and this base is looking very impressive as well. So let's move on. The second shot we've got here is the usual scale shot. We're looking at about 23 inches from the bottom of this rather nice base to the tip of that pulse rifle there. And this base has got all kinds of wet look, slimy tendrils all over it. It looks like there's a dead face hugger there. The skin tones on Hicks himself look really nice. That pulse rifle looks really nice. You've got a shot of the pulse rifle here in the bottom right hand corner, and the sheath, the back sheath that he carries the shotgun around in. So far so good. This shot here is actually more of a back angle, and we can get a really good look at the pulse rifle. And I've got to say, I think HCG have done a cracking job on this pulse rifle. It looks absolutely spot on as far as I can tell. The colours are right, the scale's right. Loving that weathering on there, particularly around this handle area and around the magazine at the bottom here. But just overall, it looks really good. I think Hicks must have just slapped a new magazine in, because we've got 99 on the LED counter on the side there. Now, not sure whether this is a purely polystone piece. It does say in the blurb for the statue itself that it's made out of polystone. Not sure if there's any mixed media going on in here. Don't think this strap for the pulse rifle itself is mixed media, because just judging by the way that this thing's hanging, I would say that that's actually polystone, because if that was nylon or some such material, it would be hanging down. So yeah, loving the battle damage on the armor plating here on the back of the helmet. I think they've got the colors just right and that camo just right. See the camera on the side of the helmet there. So yeah, looking very good indeed. And the first glimpse of the shotgun sheath on his back there. The base. Now, this base puts me in mind of the Prime 1 Studios and Blitzway Ripley that we reviewed recently on the channel. If you're wanting to check that out, you can find that on the channel homepage. Slightly more by the way of alien tendrils. I think they might have overcooked it just a tad here, but you've got that sort of industrial looking base underneath his feet there, sort of reminiscent of the inside of the atmosphere processing station on LV-426. You've got this really nicely done, what I hope is a dead face hugger. The paint applications and sculpt on there look really good, and you can also sort of get a glimpse of those clip-on shin guards that the Colonial Marines wear, and once again some nice weathering on there. So yeah, that base is looking good. Onto the figure itself. Now the pose that HCG have chosen here, I'm actually quite liking. They must have had a hell of a lot to go at. And I suppose the temptation would be to go for an action pose, but what they've gone for here is more of a sort of a neutral pose with Hicks resting that pulse rifle on his right bicep there. And this sort of puts me in mind of the scene where we see Hicks first arrive at the command centre at Hadley's Hope, or maybe on the deck of the Sulaco before they leave on the dropship. I think it's a good choice. It sort of captures that stoic nature of Hicks really, really well. But once again, you can see that the level of detailing on that armour really, really good. Those skin tones are excellent, and it's probably a really good shot of the head sculpt there as well. And I think they've done a really good job of capturing Michael Biehn there. I think it's looking promising from the dimple in the chin there. It looks like they've got the eyes and the skin tone right. As I say, I've got high hopes for this piece. So let's take a closer look at that head sculpt. Now, I think there's only one head sculpt. I don't think they're interchangeable. Having read the promo info, I don't think there's a removable helmet or swap out head or anything like that. But looking at the paint applications and the sculpt there, I think they've done a cracking job. The skin tones look really good. As I say, that likeness to Michael Biehn is most certainly there. And in this close-up as well, you can really see that weathering and the effective weathering on there. I'm liking this strap. That looks like polystone that's been painted to look like leather for the shotgun sheath that's strapped over his shoulder there. But that camera is really nicely detailed, and the paint applications are very, very good there. So off to a good start here. Around the back, that shotgun sheath in more detail there. Now, looking at that closely, that looks to me like that's polystone, as does this sort of attachment to the utility belt here. So I'm going to go with polystone, although the camo pants themselves do look like they might be made out of materials. So it'll be interesting to see what the final mixture of materials is if there is a mixture of materials at all. But yeah, you can see the light, the shoulder light there. You can see the motion tracker, and for the first time. Now, I don't think it's got any swap out hands or anything like that. They're not mentioned in the promo information, so it just looks like that the motion tracker is over his shoulder, and there's no sort of option to actually have him holding it, which is a shame. But moving on, close-up details of that chest plate. Now, you can really get a good idea of the level of detail that HCG have gone into here. You've got these shells on the left-hand side. You've got the knife in the sheath upside down on the right-hand side, all screen accurate. Really close-up look at that body armor, and yeah, there's some lovely detailing and weathering on there, even down to the that sort of what looks like a bullet hole on the left shoulder armor plate that says "Born Again" on there, which is really, really good. The belts and the straps all look like nylon, but I've got a feeling they're going to be polystone. And we get a first hint here as well on the left bicep that they've actually put on the left bicep his serial number, which was tattooed on there. So nice attention to detail there from HCG. And another close-up look here of the torso. Once again, you're actually seeing that full number there on the left bicep, which is great to see. And the skin tone and texturing looks really good. You've got vein work in there. There's a redness to the knuckles that's sculpted in fingernails. You've got that PDT on his wrist there, and what looks like hair on that forearm. Now, I'm not 100% certain whether that's sculpted in or whether that's just painted on. Looking at this closely, I suspect that that's just painted on, but still, it looks effective. And once again, that armour is suitably weathered down below the waist area. And looking at those camo pants, and say, difficult to tell at this stage whether those are material or polystone. That base, a close-up shot of that base. Now, these tendrils are perhaps a little bit overcooked for my taste and could be slightly more 4K. I'd probably like to have seen those toned down a little bit. I think they might have overstepped the mark slightly with those, but on the whole, I think they're pretty well sculpted and painted. And once again, we get a full view of those shin guards there and the detailing on them. Another long shot here and now. This, I think, is a cracking shot, this one, because it just gives that overall feel of the figure itself, and we get a really good idea of the likeness that they've got to Michael Biehn there, and I think they've done a cracking job. I really do. And another angle, just slightly to the left this time. And once again, I think that sort of neutral pose really does work. As I say, capturing that stoicism, as I said before. I think good job all round here. One from the right hand side of the figure, all looking on point. Then you get a really good look at the actual motion tracker there, and once again, paint applications and weathering on there look excellent too. Round the back. Now we've seen the actual figure round the back, but it's nice to see the back of the actual base itself, and it looks like they've continued that level of detailing on the back as well. Not sure whether this is meant to be acid burns here on the back here, or just a continuation of those tendrils, but there's some nice weathering on the back of the stand itself, of the base rather. Looks like liquid running down there, and there are cracks in there, so yeah, nice attention to detail. Another one from the right hand side this time at a slight angle, and I think this gives a really good impression of the quality of that pulse rifle and the actual proportions that they've got going on here with that bicep there. Now, Michael Biehn was in seriously good shape when he shot Aliens, and you can see that in the muscularity of the forearm and the bicep there. So yeah, proportions on point, definitely. And the final shot is, once again, I think it's the same as the other shot we saw before, which is with a different background, to be honest with you. But yeah, overall, I think this is looking very promising indeed. So there you have it, folks. That's the HCG take on Corporal Dwayne Hicks from Aliens. And I've got to say, it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. I hit play as soon as I saw it, and there will be a full review going up on the channel just as soon as it lands. I think it will be the perfect companion piece to my Prime 1 and Blitzway Ripley quarter-scale statue, which there is a review for on the channel, so if you wanted to check that out, check the homepage, and I'll pop a link in the description at the end here. But what are your thoughts on this piece? What are your thoughts on the movie? What are your thoughts on anything alien related? Please drop a comment in the comment section below. I would be fascinated to hear your take on this. And as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon. And until next time on the channel, from myself, from Corporal Hicks, take care of yourselves and happy collecting.